Hello, everyone. So this is my first stream on the Warning Take YouTube channel, and the first since merging with the Warning Take. Make sure to subscribe to the old Caniac Sessions Twitter account or X, whatever you want to call it, and their YouTube account. We're gonna be looking at prospects on that. So this is just a little short stream, just kind of my mock trades and the state of the Hurricanes and answering everybody's questions. So I'm gonna get right into it for trade proposals. I'll go ahead here and share my screen. Share my entire screen. Allow. All right. So here's what I'm looking at. We're going after a 2C. I mean, that's obvious. So we're going to go with the simple one, New York Rangers. So Rangers, we're obviously going after one person, and that's Vincent Trocheck. Now, Vincent Trocheck in his 30s, but he has 4 years on a pretty good deal, 5.625, which I would take to get a 2C. So looking at everything, obviously we need to get rid of Kokoniemi's contract. Brandon does not like that, but still, that matches the salary cap and the AAV, but they're going to want more. So for the draft, I'm going to put a Dallas third, and I'm going to put a Dallas first. No, actually, you know what? I'm going to get rid of this one. I'm going to go ahead and go with a 2027 first. And if that doesn't move the needle, I say this is just all hypothetical. Put Nadeau, remove the first. I think that's what will get it done. And, well, you could swap this third for a first because they're rebuilding. That's one that I would do. Now, here's the other one. St. Louis. There's one guy that we all want. His name is Robert Thomas. This is going to be more difficult because you obviously want to do that KK contract, but it's going to take more than Nadeau, who I would give up. I may get hate for it. Jackson Blake. And we'll go to a draft pick here. And this is just hypothetical. Dallas first and the Dallas third. That could get it done because you do not want to involve Nikishin with the deal. You don't want Nikishin a part of that, but yeah, they want somebody that's a young defenseman that I've heard. So you could also add Jackson Blake. You can get rid of this first. You can go sign. You can go Nystrom and eliminate the pick. But also, I'd want something back because I'm already giving up Kokoniemi, Blake, and Nystrom, Thomas. So I'm looking down here and maybe a fourth from Anaheim. That's fair, in my opinion. So that's what I wanted to show. So I want to hear everything about this. Sam Wallace, what's up, AB? What's happening, Sam? Our guy on the Caniac Report. So those are the overall trades I'm looking at right now. Now, I'll share this one too. Go ahead and do this. Now, if you want, this may not happen, if you want to go after Panarin and Trocheck. Where's Panarin up here? Panarin, Trocheck. You're obviously going to have salary retained. I mean, that's just how it is in this day and age. What you're going to want to do is Kokoniemi. Have to have Kokoniemi on there. You're going to have to put a first. And I think you put in another one from Dallas. Actually, no. I'm not going to do that. I'll put a second. A first, a second. And they want a defenseman. Put Nystrom in there. Put Nystrom in there. They may not take that. They may want to get rid of the Nystrom, and they want Nadeau. That could get it done. Now, Panarin is 34. He's getting older. He's not a style of player that the Hurricanes want. Trocheck is. This is just hypothetical from my standpoint. So I want to hear everybody's thoughts on this. What about Charlie Coyle? No, Charlie Coyle is washed and is not relevant to this conversation. I don't even know what Charlie Coyle's up to. I know he plays for Columbus, but he had a good year. Oh, okay. Well, he has 33 points for the Blue Jackets. But Bruins 23-24, he had 60, fell off, 64 games, 22 points, minus 14. And then this year he has 33 points, minus 12. And then let's look at his faceoffs here, 50%. That's not your 2C solution at all. At all. And I will die on that hill. So the next upcoming game for the Hurricanes, we're taking on the Utah Mammoth. Utah is very good. They're young. Clayton Keller, Mikhail Sergachev, Logan Cooley. He fell off a cliff. And you also have, gosh, I can't remember his name. Chad, if I don't know his name, he's a forward. Correct me if I'm wrong. It should be, let's see here. Stats. Gunther, or however you pronounce him. 24 goals, 21 assists, 45 points. Schmaltz, he's been late to Carolina, but that was a year or 2 years ago, so he's not going anywhere. JT Peterka, he's had a good year. And then Keller, obviously, plus 20, 50 points. You can't ask for anything better. And then Cooley, 14 goals, 9 points. 14 goals, 9 assists, 23 points, plus 6. They're a good team. They're young, and they're quick, and they're fast, and they want to prove themselves. Their starter, Karel Vejmelka, 40 games started, 25-12, 2.56 goals against average, and a .902 save percentage. And they have Vitek Vanacek, who is 3-9, 2.93 goals against average, .884 save percentage. So it will really all depend on what everything's going to look like for the game tomorrow. All right, let's see here. I honestly don't know how I feel about the possibility of Pan coming here. I wouldn't be overjoyed, but wouldn't be too upset either. Yeah, Dylan, this is just a hypothetical. We know Panarin's going to want to go somewhere, and that's just a package deal that I put in. Again, he's 34 years old, power play merchant. He can score, but this is not 2018 anymore. And he would be the quote unquote superstar here, but he's not. So this is just a package deal that, I just threw together. Super unrealistic, but I would kill to have Nico Hischier. I agree, Aaliyah. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right or not. I just don't think the Devils are parting with Nico Hischier. Obviously, Jack Hughes is your cornerstone. You're probably going to get rid of Dougie Hamilton. Nico Hischier is going to take a lot to get trade for, and I'm not sure what the return would be if Carolina were to offer him, because he's a good center, but he's not the 2 seed that you want, in my opinion. AB said Gunther. Yeah. All right, Dylan. How about Shane Wright, EP40, Mason Marchment, etc.? Shane Wright is young, and I don't think that you trade for him right now because the Kraken screwed up his development, and everybody thought he was going to go to Montreal. That's a whole different story. But Elias Pettersson, yeah, I'll pull that up. I'll pull that up for you too. Let's say Elias Pettersson. All right, let's say Elias Pettersson. Go down to Vancouver. That's 11.6. All right. So you'd have to go Kotkaniemi. All right. They'd have to retain some. And they just lost a defenseman. So I know Pettersson's potential, and I know he can be great. And he has been great when he's shown flashes. Maybe you put in Nystrom, and maybe you put a third in. If that doesn't get it done, put a fourth. That would be my opinion. But most likely, they're going to want a first. I think that would get it done. But again, Vancouver would have to retain. Just my opinion. Let's see. I respect the takes, but I feel like teams will expect a lot more in return simply based on competitive bidding from other teams. For once, the Canes are in a position to pay some heavy prices. A lot of our prospects won't see NHL ice in Carolina, but have value somewhere. I agree. Ethan, I totally agree. Now, again, like you said, heavy price. Centers are very valued right now. That's why you need to go out and get a 2C that the Hurricanes have been missing. But Kotkaniemi looks terrible as a Canes fan, but on the market, that's somebody you need to have with length in the contract. because the cap's going up, players are getting better, but that is a NHL caliber player that you can put on your line. But I agree. A lot of these prospects are not going to make it to the NHL. Legault, Nadeau, Nystrom, and Poirier, I could see making it. Just a handful of those guys, but some of the people down low, yes, I understand where you're coming from. All right, Snowman NC for Thomas, I'd be willing to do KK Blake, Nystrom, and a first to get it done. We have plenty of wingers and deep prospects we can afford to lose for a legitimate 1-2 center that has term. I agree. You have to get KK, and Blake, I think, would be a good piece. Nystrom and a first. I would say Nystrom and maybe a third from Dallas. And also, you can eliminate Nystrom and do some draft picks. Yes, we do have wingers in the system and prospects, but at the end of the day, I don't want to lose Nikishin. And I've heard rumors that, Nikishin is on the table. No, he's not. He was on the table when we tried to go for Quinn Hughes. But thank you for the comments, though, man. All right, AB said, what about Schmaltz? Schmaltz is a good player. It's just we need the 2C role. He's not going to fill that role. He's a good player, but he's not going to fill that role. Sam Wallace, Utah has won 8 of their last 10 games. Utah's a great up-and-coming team. They're quick, they're hungry, and obviously, I think in 3 years, I could see them going for a playoff spot. If not this year. I really think they have a good base. All right, Kevry the Cane. I know Warning Take has said before, but I think a sneaky good pickup for the team would be Boone Jenner and Marchment from Columbus. Well, obviously, we had Marchment a couple of years ago. We thought we signed him, and then he signed with Dallas. Boone Jenner. I just couldn't see both of them Hurricanes. Marchment, yes. If Martinook wasn't in the position he's in, let me tell you why. Marchment does a better job of that role than Martinook does. I agree. But you're putting him on the left wing. Who do you have? Svechnikov, Taylor Hall, Jordan Martinook, and gosh, who else? I'm drawing a blank here. You could put Jankowski, who Brandon hates. You could put Nadeau. I just really don't think Marchment would fit right here. And Jenner is not the center, because I know he played center in Columbus. Well, he plays for Columbus. He played center for a while. I don't know if he switched positions, but I just really don't think that would move the needle for us. Sam Wallace says Stamkos. Stamkos has a huge contract, and he does one thing. He scores. However, when the face-offs matter, is he the guy you put out on the right-handed dot that you trust to win the face-offs? That's my issue. And I understand that he's in a dumpster fire of a franchise right now with the Predators. I get that. But is he the guy that moves the needle? And he's got a big contract. Here's his stats right now. All right. He has 25 goals, 13 assists, 38 points. He's a minus 15. He has a good face-off percentage. But again, he's 35. I'm not going after a 35-year-old to be my 2C. That's just my opinion. And you can debate me on that, but Steven Stamkos is fine where he is in Nashville because, gosh, Nashville's a dumpster fire as it is. All right, I am looking at the comments, make sure to drop a comment. All right. Reports came out in the summer saying we were interested in Schmaltz. He has 40 points right now. Yeah, I understand that, but again, Nick Schmaltz, he's not a 2C caliber player for a team that is on the cusp of winning a cup, that has been there for years. You don't look at a almost Stanley Cup on the edge team and say, Nick Schmaltz, he's our 2 center, all figured out. No. If we were on the cusp of it, yes, that would be a good pickup. I know Schmaltz has great stats in that he's a part of a very young team for the Mammoth, but if I'm going after that 2C, we need to have a legitimate 2C that puts up points, wins the faceoffs, plays our skill with the heavy forecheck, back check, wins the faceoffs. Schmaltz is a great player. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think he moves the needle for us. I think I'd rather go for Trocheck or Thomas at that point. Now, I will say this. I wanted Schmaltz here for a couple of years, but it's just you need somebody that is a bona fide 2C, and that's Robert Thomas, best possible outcome, or Trocheck. That's just my opinion. But again, Schmaltz, great player, and he's thriving. 19 goals, 28 assists, 47 points, plus 17. I mean, the guy has it all. It's just you can't rely on 47% from the dot. And he plays 19 minutes a night, but it's a Robert Thomas, you know, that's looking at 20 plus a night, in my opinion. Got 95 people watching. Make sure you subscribe and like the live stream. All right, Hannah. Hannah just came with us for a comment. What are your thoughts on people saying Panarin? So, Panarin got held out of the lineup tonight, and I think he's going to go to the Wild. He's been linked to the Wild, and the Wild want more wingers. I don't know why. That's just what I've heard. I think I see him going to the Wild. My personal opinion. So I'm not sure about the Rags news. I just hear it from the NHL Trader Insider on X and the trade report because I do not like the Rangers. All right. Nixon out. They said, I don't see them getting Thomas. I could see Trocheck coming back. Maybe Dallas trades us Robertson as they won't afford him. Robertson's going to take a lot of money. He's a great player. I could see him coming here, but it just doesn't make sense. And Thomas would be the miracle. The miracle grab is my vote. But if you want the safe vote, it's Trocheck without giving up Nikishin. That's my thing. I'd be happy to have Trocheck back here. But does he move the needle? We don't know. My vote is Trocheck. I'm afraid the Blues are going to ask King's ransom, aka Nikishin. Yeah, Nikishin is a no. Nikishin would be a yes if it was a trade for Quinn Hughes. I'd rather take the safe bet with Trocheck, and it's not a safe bet. Trocheck's a very good player and has proved that he can thrive in this system and knows a lot of the people that play here. Stability, great place to live, competing. Can't ask for anything better than that. All right, Sam. Here's the thing, though. It all comes down to costs. Solving the 2C long term is going to cost a lot more than solving the 2C for a rental. I understand that, Sam, but who's going to be the rental? And then we'll go back to the conversation every year. That's just my opinion. If we're doing a rental, we're going to go back to the conversation every year. So why not get somebody that you know is a good player? I think Troach moves the needle, maybe not as much as Thomas, but still makes us better. Trocheck's a great player, and Thomas is an even better player. But there's no, yes, moving the needle, but he makes us better. He makes us better. Ideally, want Thomas, but Trocheck is probably the most effective player, and he loved playing for Rod, and he loved Carolina, and we know what he's capable of. He's just stuck in a bad situation. Thank you, New York. Sam, stop it with the Coyle. Stop it with the Charlie Coyle. No, that's not going to happen. Not going to happen, Sam. Not going to happen. I don't know why you bring it up. I think you just want to get on my nerves. So we're about to wrap up this stream. If anybody has any more questions or thoughts, let me hear from you in the comments. Again, subscribe to the Warning Take on YouTube. Click the notifications bell so you don't miss anything that they put out. And then follow Warning Take on X. And Nixon Out just replied. That would be Nikki Nadeau a first and more. Or what do you think? For Thomas? I mean, that's already too much. What do you have Nikishin in there? A first and more? No. That's just not. That's not ethical. It's not ethical. Trocheck is the most realistic needle mover available. I agree. We have the assets to outbid other teams while protecting our untouchables. He also leaves a gap to re-sign or let Serrato or Rybikin to take the next step. You have to keep Serrato, but that may be the needle mover, possibly, if you were to get Thomas. Not for Trocheck, though. Serrato's going to be a stud in this league. I'm sure of it. So Trocheck, Ethan, I agree. That's the most realistic. Nixon Out said yes. Yeah, well, there you go. All right. Any more questions? More questions? Any score predictions for tomorrow against Utah, the Mammoth, for the rebrand? First Utah Mammoth. Score predictions. Who scores first? What do you guys think? Let me know. What's it take for Trocheck? Yeah, I went over this at the top of the stream. You're probably going to go with KK, May Nadeau, and a third or a second. They want picks. They're rebuilding right now. That's just what it is. You can put another defenseman in there. You could put Nystrom in there, not include Nadeau, but you're going to have to include a winger. And Nadeau is the top guy because they're getting rid of Panarin and Trocheck. I know Tricek isn't a winger, but he's a center. But yeah. All right. Before we head out, score predictions, goal scorers. Let me know. Let me hear from you. If some viewers are living in North Carolina, what do you think about this snowstorm? I'm for it. If it's snowing, not ice. Well, I think we're gonna just wrap this stream up. Thank you all for tuning in, and make sure you stay tuned for the warning take and for our prospects channel coming up. And make sure to subscribe, click the notification bell so you don't miss anything that gets put out. Follow the warning take on X and follow the prospect account, which was Caniac Sessions on X. You can follow me at AB Caniac Session on X. I need to change that name. But thank you so much for tuning in and giving your thoughts. And we will see you when we see you. Bye.